Hey everybody, it's Mark, and it's Exotic Car Play Place coming back at you with the top 5 best drivers BMWs for under $10,000 US. If you've ever thought about buying a BMW but never really wanted to spend the money, maybe your budget won't allow. Maybe there's a lot of reasons you basically want to limit your spending to $10,000 for a BMW. Well, it doesn't mean you can't play. It doesn't mean you can't have fun. It does mean you can get a decent BMW for less than $10,000, and I'm going to give you the top 5, and I'm going to give you some of the technical specifications to these cars, and hopefully that will convince you if you're in the market for something like this. Right, let's get started. So the first car choice, not necessarily the first pick on this group of 5, but certainly I'm going to start with the newest to the oldest, so that's where I'm going to start. And the first goes to a 2008 BMW 530xi. Now some of you might think, well, that doesn't sound very sporty. Well, that's kind of what I thought too before I took one for a test drive. So let's start with the 535. That features a 3-liter twin-turbo 6-cylinder direct injected engine producing over 300 horsepower. It also, because the XI model has all-wheel drive, and did you know that you can get this car in a manual 6-speed transmission, which makes it sporty? The beauty is that the 5 Series BMW always has more upscale trim, the car feels more upscale, and the room is more luxurious and more spacious than you would typically find in the 3 Series, and thus this is a great buy. How about 0 to 60 mile per hour in 5.4 seconds, 0 to 100 in 13.4 seconds, and a standing quarter mile in an even 14 seconds flat at 102 miles per hour. Not a bad time for a luxury sedan. It's also limited to 155 mile per hour top speed, as typically BMW fashions in all of their cars. So my second choice happens to be a 2007 BMW 650i, which is loosely based on the M6, of course. It's the coupe version of the 5 Series car, although none of the parts really resemble or share with the 5 Series or 7 Series. It falls smack dab in the series lineup. The 650i happens to have a 4.8 liter V8 engine producing 360 horsepower and 360 foot-pounds of torque. You can either get a 6-speed manual, 6-speed automatic, either way would be fun in this particular car. Now what there is different here from the 5 Series is you've got a wider, lower stance than the 5 Series car, slightly reduced weight, and therefore acceleration times are actually brisker than the 5 Series equivalent with the same engine. So these cars actually come in a 2+2 configuration, not really designed for the long haul for those folks unfortunately placed in the back seats. But this wonderful 4.8 liter V8 is enough to propel this car 0 to 60 in about 5 seconds flat, quarter mile, 13.6 at 105 miles per hour. And in addition, it does all of this with 15 miles per gallon city and 23 miles per gallon on the highway. Not bad for a high performance car. So my third choice happens to fall another heavyweight. It is the 550i. Why do I like this? Again, we talk about the mid-size cars, the 5 Series sedans that give you more luxury, more space than you'd normally find in the 1, 2, even the 3 Series cars. The 5 Series gives you just adequate enough space. It feels very, very nice and spacious. But this one also is coupled or planted with the 4.8 liter 32 valve V8 motor that you'd find in the 650 that I previously mentioned. Due to the 550's extra weight, unfortunately it has a slightly reduced 0 to 60 time that you'd find in the 650. This car happens to be around 5.2, 5.4 seconds 0 to 60, and a quarter mile of about 13.5. So not a bad time, definitely a great performance car. Even though it's more on the luxury side, it's a beautiful car. Nothing wrong with having a V8 engine coupled to a 6-speed manual gearbox that just really makes your day. You can really have the luxury and all that fun while you take it potentially to the racetrack. So my number 4th choice. What would a BMW list of performance cars be without a wonderful M car? So my next choice happens to be a 2003 M3 Coupe. Now of course this car was available with an SMG transmission. I would steer away from that. Stick with the 6-speed manual gearbox in this car. That would be coupled to an inline-six 3.2 liter engine that produces 333 horsepower and about 262 foot-pounds of torque, propelling this beast from 0 to 60 in about 5.2 seconds and a quarter mile of about 13.5 seconds. Beautiful car, but it's more than just the numbers with the M3s. It's the feeling, it's the sensation that you get, it's the buzz, it's the whole experience, the driving experience that you get. The beautiful thing about the M3 is it's just practical enough to place a couple friends in your back seat. The downside, of course, is the M3 is only available in a two-wheel drive, and therefore it's not really the best suited for poor weather conditions. It obviously is more of a driver's car. So internally noted as E46, this M3 was loved by a lot of enthusiasts in the day, and a lot of guys were actually disappointed to see what BMW came up with when they came up with the E90, which was the next generation of the M3. Well, now looking back, I think it's pretty obvious that it was the natural progression to go to the E90. But that being said, the E90 was the only V8 engine in the M3s, and now, of course, they're back to the inline six-cylinder as they were in this E46 model year. So, that's the fourth car that I'd love to buy under $10,000. And my fifth choice is a 1993 BMW M3. I also wouldn't exclude a car like this because it was also a fan favorite. This was the E36 internal designation, and it came equipped with a straight six 3-liter engine coupled to a 6 and a 5-speed manual gearbox or automatic, and potentially the SMG at some point. So there was various versions available for it. Either way, that car produced 240 horsepower, 225 foot-pounds of torque, and ripped 0 to 60 in about 6 seconds flat, which was astonishing in its day. By today's standards, a little bit dull, but it was very, very quick in its day. Also comes configured with back seats. The later versions also had a 3.2 liter. They were bumped up at one point. The front end geometry was tweaked for a little better camber, but basically more of a race car setup as well. It had floating rotors, which also allowed for better braking performance. So everybody, I hope that helps rounding out your list for the top 5 my favorite BMWs under $10,000. Now, I know you can always find exceptions. There's probably going to be other options in this list. These are a few of the ones that I feel are good, really good value, and will produce many years of fruitful and enjoyment driving for everybody who's enthusiastic about driving a BMW. So everybody, I really hope you liked it. Please do sure to like, comment, and subscribe below. Hit that subscribe button, don't forget, and we'll talk to you in the next one. Bye-bye.